There is a kind of ugliness that has nothing to do with symmetry, skin, or age, and everything to do with the atmosphere you carry. It is the heaviness that settles into the eyes when hope is rationed, the stiffness in the jaw when resentment has been rehearsed, the dimming of presence when a person spends years telling the subconscious a story that shrinks the soul. You have met beautiful faces that felt cold and unapproachable, and you have met time-worn faces that glowed with a loveliness you could not name. Beauty is not a photograph, it is a field, and fields are planted and tended by habit. Joseph Murphy taught that your subconscious accepts every seed you plant with feeling and repetition. The 7 habits I am about to reveal do not merely make you less pleasant to be around, they gradually instruct your inner life to turn down the light. You do not wake up one morning and find your radiance gone. You misplace it, inch by inch, through daily suggestions that your deeper mind obediently fulfills. If you trace ugliness to its root, you find a single law: as a person thinks, feels, and believes, so they become. This is not poetry, it is mechanics. A habit is simply a suggestion you forgot you were making. Repeat a sentence often enough, about yourself, about others, about the world, and the subconscious writes it into the lighting plan of your life. A person who rehearses complaint begins to broadcast a grey tone that no makeup can conceal. A person who cultivates quiet gratitude, even in difficult seasons, begins to shine with that warm, human light that makes strangers exhale and children draw near. The beauty or ugliness you carry is not an accident. It is the harvest of instruction. Let us begin with the first invisible habit that corrodes beauty: chronic self-criticism. Many wear it like a badge of honesty, calling it humility or realism. In truth, it is a slow vandalism of the soul. Every time you call yourself names, diminish your gifts, or speak of your body as an enemy, your subconscious takes notes and rewires the way you move through rooms. Shoulders fold a little. Eyes avoid contact. A guardedness creeps into your gestures. You begin to repel the very kindness you crave because kindness feels incompatible with the picture you painted. The second habit is the more socially acceptable cousin of the first: unrelenting criticism of others. You may call it standards, but your face calls it tightness. The mouth sharpens, the brow narrows, laughter becomes brittle. The subconscious cannot contain two worlds. When you train it to look for faults, it cannot suddenly produce ease and loveliness on your behalf. It will give you what you asked for: edges. There is a third habit you might admire in yourself as prudence, withholding appreciation until perfection appears. You wait to praise, wait to celebrate, wait to open. The subconscious learns that warmth must be earned, and it becomes a stingy steward of your own radiance. A person who withholds praise to control outcomes begins to look like the weather on an overcast day, functional but joyless. The fourth habit is the reluctance to receive. It sounds noble to say, "I don't need anything," but the subconscious takes you at your word and narrows your channels of supply, companionship, and surprise. Over time, the face of someone who has practiced refusal looks as if every gift is a problem to solve. This is not beauty, this is defense. The fifth habit is complaint disguised as conversation. It is not that you tell the truth about pain, that can be healing, it is that you perform your grievances as identity. The subconscious interprets the constant rehearsal as an order to keep the set intact, so it coordinates circumstances to match the script. Your face becomes a museum of yesterday's storms. The sixth habit is comparison. Nothing steals radiance more efficiently than measuring your life against a curated image of someone else's. Comparison instructs the subconscious to distrust your own path, your posture turns hesitant, your voice apologizes for existing. The seventh habit is fear of joy. This one hides. It is the quiet suspicion that if you feel too good, the universe will notice and take something away. So you mute good news, you downplay blessings, you pre-grieve. The subconscious, loyal servant that it is, keeps you at a low flame to protect you from the imagined theft, and you become someone who never quite glows. Have you noticed how your thoughts shape your reality? The question is not whether these habits have visited you, they visit all of us, but whether you will continue to make a home for them. Beauty, in the deepest Murphy sense, is the outward music of inner order. When the conscious mind and the subconscious agree on a benevolent picture of life, the body relaxes, chemistry sweetens, gestures open, eyes brighten. When they agree on a suspicious picture of life, everything hardens. If you are ready to reauthor your habits, to install patterns that instruct your inner life to turn the lights back up, then you are in the right place. Comment "I believe in divine power" if you feel this decision stirring inside you. And before we proceed, let us anchor this journey together. If you believe there's something greater guiding your life, subscribe now and like this video to continue your transformation journey. That small action is an outward sign of an inner choice to expand. There is a scientific basis for all of this. Neuroscience tells us that repeated thoughts strengthen neural pathways. Endocrinology tells us that chronic negativity alters hormones and inflammatory markers. Phenomenology tells us that attention constructs experience. Joseph Murphy told us the same truth in spiritual language long ago. The subconscious accepts the dominant impression and expresses it as circumstance, mood, and tone. When you think of beauty as frequency rather than feature, these disciplines converge. You cannot wear hatred and look luminous. You cannot feed envy and glow. You cannot assign your subconscious the job of defending you against joy and then expect your face to sing. But if you reassign it a new job, receive, bless, collaborate, the body responds, the mind softens, the field brightens. People will tell you that you look different. You will not have changed your face, you will have changed your law. Imagine a lamp with a dimmer. Ugliness, in the spiritual sense, is not a category, it is a setting. The 7 habits are simply hands on the dimmer, turning it down without your permission. Let us meet a few travelers who discovered how to turn it back up. There was a graphic designer named Lucia whose wit always had teeth. She could spot an error from across the room, and clients hired her for that precision. But friends stopped inviting her to dinner. "You exhaust the room," one said gently. Lucia sat on her couch and wondered when she had become a storm. She remembered her mother's voice, always scanning for flaws, always sighing, and she realized she had mistaken tension for competence. That night she tried a new experiment. She placed her palm over her heart and said, "Subconscious mind, you are creative and kind. I ask you to show me what is good before what is wrong." The next morning she noticed a small kindness from a barista she had never really seen. At work she praised an intern before correcting a file. 2 weeks later, a colleague told her, "Your face looks different." It turned out that kindness had rearranged her features. The muscles around her eyes softened. She became beautiful the way a room becomes beautiful when someone opens the window. There was an accountant named Davi who never accepted help. He insisted on paying for everything, carrying everything, doing everything. He called it strength. In truth, he was terrified that if he leaned, he would discover there was no one to lean on. The habit made him stiff. People felt unnecessary around him. One afternoon an elderly neighbor offered to fix a loose hinge on his door. Pride rose in Davi's throat, but he caught himself and practiced a Murphy-style suggestion: "It is safe to receive." Allowing is honor, not weakness. He said yes. The neighbor told stories while he worked, and Davi laughed the way he had not laughed in years. Later he wrote in his journal, "I looked softer in the mirror today." Receiving had restored circulation to his life, and his face showed it. Consider comparison through the story of Myra, a young teacher whose evenings were temples to other people's highlight reels. She would scroll herself into despair, then stare at her ceiling rehearsing lines that dulled her brightness: "I'm late. I'm behind. I'm not enough." The habit made her weariness visible. Students called her distant. One Sunday she heard a sentence that felt like sunlight: "Your lane is holy." She decided to treat comparison as a cue for blessing. Every time she felt the ache, she would whisper, "Bless them and bless me," and then she would list 3 things she could love in her own day. In a month, everything changed. Her posture became more upright, her eyes more present, her laugh warmer. The subconscious had received new instructions and her countenance was the proof. Let's visit complaint disguised as conversation. There was a man named Theo who believed in honest talk. So he told his friends the news of the world with a dramatic flair, repeated institutional failures over lunch, narrated minor inconveniences with tragic intensity. He did not notice that his mouth tilted down at rest, that his greetings were a sigh, that rooms brightened when he left. One evening he decided to tithe his words to beauty. For every true critique he spoke aloud, he would also name something good and specific. The bus was late, and the sunset looked like melted copper between the buildings. The meeting dragged, and I admired how Anna listened. His friends did not know about the experiment, but a week later someone said, "It feels good to sit with you again." Theo touched his face and found it relaxed, as if a hand had released a knot. Now let's approach fear of joy, perhaps the subtlest thief. Samara had lost someone she loved, and the nervous system learns what it experiences. Every delight since the loss had felt like a siren, warning of the next blow. To keep herself safe, she muted her happiness. It made her careful, and it also made her dim. She learned a practice from Murphy's teaching that healed her, to bless joy as protection rather than risk. When laughter bubbled up, she would place 2 fingers on her pulse and say, "It is safe to feel good, joy is my medicine." At first she felt disloyal to her grief, but then she sensed the deeper loyalty to life itself. Her body responded, color returned to her cheeks, friends told her she glowed. She had not betrayed the past, she had stopped betraying the present. All 7 habits are variations of one mistake, instructing your subconscious to mistrust life. The antidote is also one, instruct it to collaborate with the infinite. Some do this by rigid discipline, but the deepest change happens by affectionate repetition. The subconscious is not persuaded by arguments, it is soothed by images and tones. That is why visualization, gentle affirmations, and what Murphy called scientific prayer are so potent. You aren't trying to bludgeon the mind into compliance, you are inviting it into a warmer room and asking it to memorize the furniture. Have you noticed that people become more beautiful when they speak from gratitude? Gratitude is not a moral badge, it is a nervous system intervention. It tells the body we are safe enough to receive. Safety unlocks softness. Softness unlocks radiance. If you have practiced any of the 7 dimming habits, take a breath. Shame is unnecessary here. These patterns often began as survival strategies. The child who learned to be hypercritical may have been trying to impress caretakers into noticing. The adult who declines help may have been trained by abandonment. The one who compares may have been starved for praise. Forgiveness is not a luxury, it is the doorway. Place your hand upon your heart and say, "I forgive myself for learning to survive. I now learn to shine." Comment, "I believe in divine power," if this is your vow. Let us now convert insight into change through a sequence that blends science and spirit. Tonight, choose one habit, the one that most quietly steals your light. Sit comfortably. Breathe as if you were smelling something you love. Close your eyes and imagine a dimmer switch in front of you with 7 small notches. Each notch is one of the habits: self-criticism, criticism of others, withholding appreciation, reluctance to receive, complaint as identity, comparison, fear of joy. Feel no blame, only curiosity. Now see your hand moving the notch of your chosen habit upward, clicking once toward brightness. You are not forcing, you are consenting to a new order. Begin with scientific prayer in Murphy's rhythm, a calm acceptance of the desired end, spoken in present tense gratitude, and impressed upon the deeper mind with feeling. If your habit was self-criticism, say, "Thank you, infinite presence within, that I now speak to myself with the kindness of truth. I am guided to words that strengthen me. My subconscious agrees and proceeds." Pause after each line and feel the rightness of it. If your habit was criticism of others, pray, "Thank you that I now see people with wise, generous eyes. I notice the good first. My subconscious agrees and proceeds." If you withhold appreciation, affirm, "Thank you that my praise is timely, sincere, and safe. I bless freely and I am enlarged." If you resist receiving, declare, "It is holy to receive. I welcome help, love, and supply." I circulate good with ease. If complaint has been your costume, say, I am honest and hopeful. My words make rooms lighter. If comparison steals your joy, speak, my lane is holy. I bless my path and others. I thrive being me. If fear of joy has dimmed you, say, joy is safe, joy is medicine, joy is permission from God. Repeat until these sentences feel like warm stones in your pocket. Now, visualization. Picture your face in a mirror you trust. Not the small bathroom mirror lit by a cold bulb, but the mirror of someone who loves you. See your eyes as clear water. See the corners of your mouth softened by kindness. See your posture an inch taller, your shoulders an inch freer. Watch yourself greet a friend and let them finish their compliment while you simply receive it with a smile that reaches your pupils. Watch yourself in a difficult meeting and sense the space between stimulus and response widening, giving you room to choose grace over critique. Watch yourself scroll and then gently set the phone down, placing your hand on your heart, whispering, bless them and bless me. Watch yourself laugh without checking the room to see who approves. You are rehearsing a new atmosphere, and rehearsal is how the subconscious learns. Create a morning ritual of 3 gentle sentences and 1 physical cue. For example, before your feet touch the floor, say, I welcome the good. I contribute beauty. I am safe to receive. Then touch your collarbone as a cue to anchor the state. Throughout the day, every time you feel the old habit tug, repeat the cue and 1 sentence. This is cognitive science woven into spirituality. You are associating a bodily movement with a chosen state, making it easier for the nervous system to return. Practice the generosity drill to dissolve the habit of withholding appreciation. Choose 3 people each day, a colleague, a barista, a family member, and offer specific, sincere praise. Not flattery, which feels like sticky sugar, but recognition. I admire how patient you were with that customer. The way you organized that file made my afternoon calmer. Your laugh makes this room better. Your face will soften as you speak. The subconscious will conclude that warmth is safe, and your resting expression will reflect it. If receiving is difficult, assign yourself small yeses. Accept a compliment by saying, thank you. If someone offers help and it aligns with wisdom, say, I would appreciate that. When a gift arrives, open it slowly and let gratitude travel through your chest like warm tea. In the evening, write a line, today I received with grace. The mind records it, the body remembers. Replace complaint with contribution by creating a ratio. For every problem you discuss, you will also describe a solution or an instance of beauty. The budget is tight, and here is a creative way we can stretch. Traffic was heavy, and I listened to a lecture that gave me hope. At first it may feel artificial. In a week it will feel like dignity. People will begin to relax around you. Your loveliness will return not as performance but as presence. For comparison, set a timer when you scroll. When the timer ends, place your hand on your heart and name 3 specific things you treasure in your path today. If your mind protests, smile and continue. Then bless one person you saw and ask the infinite to give them exactly what their soul needs. The subconscious experiences your blessing as abundance and mirrors it back. As for fear of joy, practice graduated celebration. Do not leap to grand gestures if your nervous system is unready. Begin with micro-delights, a song on repeat, a perfect orange, a 10-minute walk in a patch of sun. When joy arises, tell your body, this is safe. Place 2 fingers on your pulse and breathe as if absorbing the moment. The mind will gradually uncouple joy from danger and your radiance will rise without effort. Tell us in the comments which area of your life you want to transform. Your word is a powerful seed. And answer this aloud, even now if you can, which of the 7 habits has been lowering your dimmer, and what new instruction will you give your subconscious tonight? Have you noticed, even in this brief practice, a small space of softness opening? If so, record it below. Your testimony becomes someone else's instruction. There is a moment in the journey when you stop negotiating with your old life and you quietly step into a new agreement. Not louder, kinder. Not theatrical, true. Let this be that moment. Place your hand over your heart and remember that it has beaten for you without your permission, through nights you thought would unmake you, through days you could not believe you survived. Whatever you have done to dim your light began as an attempt to feel safe, to be seen, to be enough. You can forgive yourself now. The infinite has. The universe is not your judge, it is your collaborator, waiting for your instruction. Beauty, as Murphy would frame it, is the natural consequence of inner harmony. Harmony is the marriage of your conscious intention and your subconscious acceptance. When they agree that life is fundamentally friendly, your countenance tells the world a story of trust. The jaw unclenches. The breath deepens. Micro-expressions soften. Even your timing changes, you arrive when laughter begins. People will ask if you've had a vacation. You will smile and think, yes. I came home to myself. Carry forward a simple daily path to keep your dimmer rising. The awakening ritual: when you open your eyes, I choose to see the good, to speak the good, to expect the good. The noon recalibration: 1 minute where you put the phone down, inhale slowly, and picture light pouring through your face as if through stained glass. The evening inventory: not a harsh audit, but 3 lines: where you shone, where you dimmed, and what you choose for tomorrow. The scientific prayer before sleep: infinite presence within me, I accept that I am a channel of kindness, courage, and joyful receiving. My subconscious agrees and proceeds. Thank you. Repeat until the words feel like a warm blanket. This is not superstition, it is architecture. When setbacks occur, and they will, because we are human, do not let shame reclaim the house. If you catch yourself criticizing, pause and revise. I caught myself because I am growing. If you withhold appreciation, send a message later and say what you withheld. If you feel the old comparison ache, bless and return. If joy scares you, feel it for 3 seconds longer than yesterday. You are not in a competition, you are in a conversation with your own life. The subconscious adores consistency more than intensity. Keep showing up with gentle steadiness and your atmosphere will be remade. Now, let us end with a picture you can carry. Imagine stepping into a room tomorrow and watching heads lift slightly, as if someone opened a window. Imagine a friend saying, I love being around you, and you letting that sentence land. Imagine a child making eye contact with you and smiling because children are experts at energy. Imagine your mirror becoming an ally rather than a judge. This is not fantasy. It is the predictable outcome of new instructions. The 7 habits that once made you less lovely are no match for 7 acts of consent to goodness. Consent to see the best first. Consent to praise when praise is true. Consent to receive without apology. Consent to contribute rather than complain. Consent to bless your own path. Consent to feel joy without fear. Consent, above all, to believe that the infinite within you designed you for radiance. Which thought will you plant first? Which small act will you practice this hour? Perhaps you will text someone your appreciation. Perhaps you will catch yourself mid-critique and replace it with curiosity. Perhaps you will accept a compliment today and let it touch you. Perhaps you will laugh out loud in the kitchen and let joy be medicine. Write it below so that your word becomes your seed. Your face will tell the story soon enough. What's the first positive thought you will plant in your subconscious today? Speak it in the comments, and then read it back to yourself before sleep, letting it sink into that generous darkness where seeds become forests. Like this video and subscribe to the channel to continue your journey of personal, mental, financial, and spiritual transformation. The power is within you, and each new video is a step to awaken it. Walk forward now with the quiet confidence of one who knows that beauty is not borrowed from the mirror, it is transmitted from the soul, and your soul is already lit.